I tell people after the age of 1, you can start putting sunblock on. So sunblock, I think, is probably one of the most important things. Pigmentation is something that people really struggle in pregnancy. पेट पे अलग सी pigmentation आना शुरू हो जाएगी. Face पे उसको mask of pregnancy कहते हैं. I tell people that diet, I think, plays a very, very integral role. Multivitamins and your supplementation becomes really important over here. You know, things like calcium, vitamin D, zinc becomes very important as well. Magnesium आपके लिए important है. Vitamin B की जो पूरी family है, B12, B6, that becomes very important for you.
Even in your 20s?
Yeah, 100%. Non-invasive treatments like radio frequency or like minimally invasive like PRP, microneedling, all of these are things that will really help you maintain your skin till like you hit your 50s. वो ना कान वैसे सबसे बड़ी sign of aging आपके कान से नजर आ रही है because हम sunblock पूरे चेहरे और गर्दन हर जगह लगा लेंगे, कान को भूल जाते हैं सारे. At the age of 50, honestly, it's not your skin, it's your bones and your muscles that need more help than your skin at that point.
मेरी एनर्जी और हिम्मत एक लंबे दिन के बाद भी खत्म ना हो, इसीलिए मैं लेती हूँ CAC 1000+, जिसमें मौजूद विटामिन C, B6 और D3 आपको एनर्जी और लास्टिंग स्ट्रेंथ देते हैं. तो लो CAC 1000+, गिव योर बेस्ट हर रोज.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Amna. You're watching Ahi Inner Star powered by CAC 1000+. हमारा गुफ्तगू का सिलसिला जारी है. We're talking about the buzzword is empowering women, how to build core strength, how to stay energetic through their 20s, 30s, 40s. So by the time you hit 50, you're completely in control of your health, of your physical fitness, of your mental and emotional welfare, of your financial literacy. And we want to see women grow stronger as they grow older and feel great by the time they're 50, and they need to be fully in control of their lives. A very important part of women feeling happy at 50 is for their skin and their hair to look fantastic. And of course, it's a major part of our lives. Skin care, hair care, how to do it, what not to do. My guest today is Dr. Maliha Javed, one of the most popular dermatologists and aesthetic physicians in Karachi. ऐसा लगता है that all of Karachi is going to her and consulting with her. So you can take this as a free consultation with her. Maliha, thank you so much for taking out the time. I know how terribly busy you are.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm glad आज छुट्टी हो गई, so I think it just kind of worked out well for us.
It worked out well, and ये ऐसा एक topic है that I think everybody talks about it.
Yes,
Everybody wants to know more and more about it. And एक endless जो है ना एक reservoir of information है. कुछ सही भी है, बहुत क्वैकरी भी है, and कुछ trends हैं जो कि healthy trends भी हैं, unhealthy trends भी हैं about skin care. But the idea of this podcast is that, you know, by the time women turn 50, they should at least be literate about this certain topic.
Yes.
And because skincare and hair care is so important in our lives, what to do through time, you know, to be sort of in control by the time you're 50. So where does it start? How much is hormonal or no? How much is DNA? पहली बात तो ये है.
So
Genetic.
I feel a lot is DNA, to be very honest, because I get a lot of patients. So primarily I deal with females. Males आते हैं, but I would say 80% of my patient population would be females.
Right.
And majority आते हैं, they're like, oh, फलां के तो wrinkles नहीं है. We're the same age. मेरी अम्मी की बतनी बहन की कौन खाला की बेटी उसकी तो ऐसे नहीं है. So I always tell them that there's a lot of genetics that plays over here. So be it your hair, be it your skin color, your skin texture, your skin type, acne, wrinkles. So ये काफी ज़्यादा genetics आ जाते हैं. Of course, environment plays a big role over here, and more than that, what you're doing for it. So if you have acne and your lifestyle is such which is encouraging more acne, for example, and this I'm talking about maybe, you know, like up ke early teens and 20s wale age group mein. Later on in like 40s, 50s, acne ki occurrences usually like a rare issue. Hoti hai, but relatively less. So it really depends on what your environment is looking like, what you're doing for it, what you're not doing for it. Aapke lifestyle habits can, that again is something that ties into what you said. Okay, where do you start from? How do you start building on that lifestyle which will help you feel empowered by the age of, let's say, 50 and onwards, कि you feel like you have things under control. इसमें ये कि there is so much information on the internet, up to Instagram and TikTok. I was surprised the amount of information there's on TikTok. वो 10-10 सेकंड की वीडियोस में लोगों को ऐसा कन्विंस कर देते हैं कि आप ये लगाएंगे तो आप ये बन जाएंगे, ये खाएंगे तो ऐसा बन जाएंगे. So I think it's really important to navigate through all of that, and for somebody to really sit down and be like, ये सही है, ये गलत है. Because I feel like मैं आधा वक्त अपनी कंसल्ट्स में ना आई एम जस्ट लाइक डिबंकिंग हाफ द थिंग्स, नहीं हमने तो ये देखा था, मैंने कहा अच्छा इसमें ये गलत है, इसमें ये सही है. So there's a lot of information that's on the internet which really needs to be tackled. I feel like very mindfully.
Yeah, but if we think of young girls, and I think the first landmark in their life perhaps would be puberty.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's when most of the acne breakouts happen.
जी,
and
absolutely,
ज़्यादा skin problems भी तब होती हैं. उस वक्त क्या, how do you start? That is where the skincare process starts.
So actually, I would correct you over here. Skincare process I think starts even earlier, like
Really?
sunblock for example.
Right.
ठीक है, acne and जो oily skin होती है वो puberty के बाद definitely होती है, because oil glands become more active. You know, वो hormones का effect with the testosterone, estrogen, etc. All of that comes into play right at puberty. But before that, especially school going kids, जो school going लड़कियां, उनका sun exposure actually ज़्यादा है compared to somebody who's in like college and university, because वो sports class this that, तो वहाँ पे sunblock miss हो जाता है लोगों का, and then they're like, oh हमें तो पता ही नहीं था. So this is what I keep telling people. And just today I opened my Instagram and somebody had messaged, I'm taking my 2-month-old daughter to Umrah, what sunblock should I take? And I was just like, I had no answer for her. I was like, ये दो extremes चल रही हैं यहाँ पे, वो 2-month-old daughter को भी sunblock चाहिए, फिर जो जरा ज्यादा जिनको चाहिए sunblock वो तो लगा ही नहीं रहे अपना. So sunblock I think is probably one of the most important things.
So
and
मेरे
that starts
में भी I have to admit ये सवाल आ रहा था कि what is too young? When do you start?
So
with
generally
sunblock?
speaking, I tell people after the age of 1 you can start putting sunblock.
As in 1-year-old? Okay then.
Yeah, and जो obviously कोई नहीं करता, मतलब कोई नहीं करता, ये तो मुझे भी खुद ये dermatology करने के बाद पता लगा था कि ठीक है आप 1 साल की उम्र से you can safely start putting on sunscreen and stuff. And वो भी उसमें different types होते हैं, कौन सा वाला बच्चों का थोड़ा kid friendly sunscreen होता है which will not irritate their eyes, etc. bunch of those things. But ideally when the kid starts going to school is when you want to start using a sunblock. Especially अब तो school भी I think इतनी जल्दी शुरू हो गए हैं, preschool and play groups and
अपने
whatnot.
बच्चे को register करें play group में
और sunblock खरीदें.
sunblock खरीदें. 2 in 1.
2 in 1.
ये आपकी deal होनी चाहिए.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so that young.
Yeah. And for the puberty thing that you mentioned, of course, so puberty के time पे there's a lot of hormonal changes, right? मतलब there's increase in estrogen, वो testosterone का effect अलग है, तो उसमें the sebaceous glands, which is what produces the oil, जो sebum कहते हैं, they become more active, and वो skin पे oily होना, acne होना, that's when it starts. And again, genetics plays a very strong role over here. एक हमारे पास ना बड़े खास assessment का तरीका होता है कि if girls, let's say around the age of 11-12 come in with acne on the center of their face, like let's say nose or forehead पे, we know it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad in the next couple of years. और वो फिर उनसे सवाल दो और पूछें तो पता लगता है कि अम्मा अब्बा दोनों को बहुत बुरी acne. So you know genetics बहुत उनकी strong है. So for them we kind of start on like earlier intervention कि जरा instead of like a very mild soap, we'll give them a slightly stronger acne based cleanser and acne based वो and early age में retinols भी हम शुरू करते हैं, मतलब for acne, not like anti aging, but for, I know ये लोगों का ना बड़ा एकदम सोचते हैं कि ओ हम retinol, मैंने कहा think of it as a दवाई, not as an anti aging thing. So that's really when you want to start taking control of your skin.
Right.
Yeah.
So that early. And
That
one,
early,
one
yeah.
must be aware and cognizant of the fact कि you know अगर कोई problem है उसको address करें.
जी absolutely.
Do you think that the fact that younger girls are into heavier makeup now, ये makeup ज़्यादा हो रहा है, does that play a role in
That
skin?
does, definitely it does. Makeup की I think awareness भी ज़्यादा है, availability भी ज़्यादा है, you know there's left right brands भी हैं, सारी चीज़ें, accessibility भी बहुत ज़्यादा है, and I feel girls have definitely become more conscious. I don't remember putting on makeup till I don't know when, शायद university college तक शायद basic सा होता होगा, you know like kajal and वो mascara type, not like thick layers of foundation. A lot of times what I've seen, girls are now doing makeup to cover up, you know, वो acne को भी cover up करेंगे, निशान को भी करेंगे, because obviously there's a lot of body shaming unfortunately कि जी वो skin देखो, निशान देखो, people will come pinpoint कि जी तुम्हारी चेहरे पे क्या वो, ये तो बहुत, I've had people break down in the clinic so many times कि नहीं वो university college में like school type में bullying वो लड़कों ने कुछ कह दिया तो जी लड़कियों ने कुछ कह दिया, teacher ने कुछ कह दिया, you know there's a lot of that stuff that goes on.
Yeah, the pressure to look गोरा.
The pressure to look गोरा, अब तो that is unreal. I feel ये तो सबसे बड़ा, मैं उस दिन किसको कहती थी, मैं कहा हमारा जो pandemic है वो ये है more than anything else, because there is this wild obsession of wanting to look गोरा. गोरे को भी गोरा और होना है, जो गोरा नहीं है उसको तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा गोरा होना है, and it's the pressure from the parents also. I've had mothers bring in their daughters, and these are daughters who are in their late 20s, they're working with the university, college, काम वाम कर रहे हैं. It's the रिश्ता time, you know, रिश्ता process वाला time है. I've had mums come in, point to their daughter's face in front of me like इसका रंग साफ करें, इसकी शक्ल साफ करें, and I've had girls cry in my clinic कि जी,
that's so sad.
It's really sad. That's and so I've had to tell off mothers multiple times, like मतलब मुझे लगता है मेरी आदत उनसे लड़ाइयाँ हो रही होती हैं, and I tell them, I'm like, अगर आप ये घर में बोलेंगे So how do you feel your daughter is going to feel empowered when she goes out? ठीक है, sure, she might be dark, she might have a skin problem. You still need to, she's still your child. I mean, she's gotten what you've given her. तो आप उसको empower नहीं करेंगे तो बाहर जाके तो दुनिया उसको बोलेगी, तो वो तो वैसे ही कॉन्फिडेंस खत्म हो जाएगा. तो ये चीज़ तो बहुत ज़्यादा है, ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा है
Unfortunately, हमारा मीडिया भी इसके ऊपर perpetuate
जी
करता है.
100%, 100%. ये गोरे होने की जो ड्रिप्स हैं और गोरे होने की दवाइयाँ जो हैं सारी, ये तो बहुत ये तो
creams हैं, whitening creams हैं, all of that.
बहुत ज़्यादा इसका प्रॉब्लम.
ये तो एक that's an entire different conversation.
100%.
And obviously we don't want to go down that route if we want to feel empowered and happy with ourselves as age goes by. But the 20s is an important decade, right?
20s I feel is probably the most
important
point in your life in any sense actually. I think career point of view से financial decisions हो गए, finding the right life partner, finding the right, I think just finding your own style and discovering yourself. I feel like 20s is very pivotal for anybody.
So how important is it to eat healthy in your 20s for your skin? Or does it have any relation?
No, 100%. So that's what I tell people कि diet I think plays a very, very integral role. Diet में आपका खाना भी आ जाता है, diet में आपके supplements भी आ जाते हैं, आपके macronutrients, micronutrients, you know, there's a bunch of those things. But people think कि जी हमने सिर्फ अंडा खा लिया काफ़ी है, फिर पूरा दिन chips and burgers ये करें. Okay, sure, you can have that once in a while. I mean, you can't stop anybody. I have it every once in a while. Indulge तो हर कोई करता है. But you have to have a balance. You have to have your multivitamins. You have to have your supplements. But you know, essential ones like your calcium, vitamin D, vitamin C, magnesium. These are the really important ones that you want to make sure that
even in your 20s.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel that is probably the most important time. मतलब growth तो आपकी चले throughout ही हो रही थी, but in your 20s, I feel there's so many changes in your body. And I personally feel, because I mean, now that I'm in like my mid 30s, I would say कि in 20s आपका वो मेंटल ग्रोथ भी बहुत ज़्यादा हो रही होती है. आई फील कि वो एक अलग किस्म के स्ट्रेसेस होते हैं. दे डू प्ले अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल ऑन योर बॉडी एज वेल, बिकॉज स्ट्रेस as lame as it may sound, but I feel stress can probably make or break you.
Absolutely.
In all forms. आपकी skin से लेके, बालों से लेके, weight से लेके, वो हर चीज़ को,
आपका पेट, आपकी skin,
हर
आपके
चीज़.
बाल,
I feel everything. Stress can play a very major role.
Absolutely. So what would you say in your experience are the important landmark years in a woman's life? जहाँ पे कोई ना कोई स्किन प्रॉब्लम इरप्ट हो सकती है या हेयर प्रॉब्लम हो सकते हैं, you know, it's puberty for sure.
Puberty for
Then
sure.
perhaps
That's where it
pregnancy?
starts. 100%. Pregnancy में बहुत changes आते हैं, and I think this is something people don't talk about, because I've had people come in मतलब वो बेचारे इतने परेशान लड़कियां आती हैं कि वो प्रेगनेंसी में उनको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा होता कि बालों के साथ क्या हो रहा है, स्किन, बिकॉज देयर टू थिंग्स दैट कैन हैपन. आई वाज जस्ट गोना कम टू दैट. कईयों के बहुत अच्छे हो जाते हैं, कईयों के बहुत बुरे हो जाते हैं. सो यू नो, सम पीपल विल गेट दैट प्रेगनेंसी ग्लो एंड सम पीपल विल गेट दिस मैसिव आउटब्रेक ऑफ एक्ने व्हिच दे हैव नेवर experienced. And then in pregnancy our hands are tied because एक दवाई, literally there's one antibiotic that we given pregnancy for acne, तो वो बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है वो, you know, it's like a 9-month long period, फिर उसके आगे फिर breast feeding का period, so we have to be very tactful in what we're giving. Lasers हम कर नहीं सकते ज़्यादा during pregnancy. So there's two sides of pregnancy for women, I feel.
I wasn't aware of this. I thought
ये तो नहीं glow सबका नहीं आता, बाल सबके नहीं अच्छे होते जो generally the idea is, but pigmentation is something that people really struggle in pregnancy. And pigmentation हमारी स्किन में ना बड़ी अजीब किस्म की होती है. पेट पे अलग से पिगमेंटेशन आना शुरू हो जाएगी, फेस पे, उसको मास्क ऑफ प्रेगनेंसी कहते हैं, जो यू नो मेलाज्मा जिससे होता है, तो वो जब if it starts in pregnancy, it's called cloasma or mask of pregnancy. For some people it will persist, for some people it will get better. Neck pigment हो जाती है लोगों की, पेट के ऊपर एक लाइन आ जाती है, and these are things I feel लोगों को पता ही नहीं होती हैं, so वो इतनी परेशान, so first time pregnancy जिनकी होती है usually, इतनी वो परेशान आती हैं, और उनको फिर इतना उनको रीअश्योर करना पड़ता है कि भाई नहीं, ठीक हो जाएगा, and it does get better once you've delivered and like a few months after that,
or not
that was another कि face वाला sometimes it just turns into like full blown melasma for people. But no, so pregnancy definitely is a major landmark for your skin health, your hair health. Then I think जो perimenopause वाला, जो pre-menopause वाला जो आप
okay, now let me stop you before we move on to perimenopause and menopause, but still on pregnancy. Also there's like weird eruptions of hair growth as well, right, on the body during pregnancy.
Absolutely.
And I think part of skincare is also epilation and hair growth, and उसको control करना, उसके भी कई तरीके हैं. So does that continue through life? Is it how are you dealing with that problem these
So
days?
एक चीज basically I think laser की जो invention थी has probably been revolutionary for women in
Yeah.
terms of hair growth and stuff. One thing that happens in pregnancy is because hair cycle आपका ज़रा change हो जाता है, which is why people have a lot of thick hair on their head also in pregnancy. तो जो laser किए हुए areas होते हैं वहाँ पे भी बाल वापस आ जाते हैं. And a lot of people that's what they complain about कि oh we did फलां sessions of laser and now it's all back. So that's why I tell them कि you do a couple of more sessions of laser after you've delivered and you should be okay. मतलब उसमें कोई problem नहीं होगा. But yes, there is hair growth in multiple places during pregnancy. जिसमें besides laser, whatever other method you want to choose to get rid of that hair is what you want to do.
But we can say that laser is the most effective
100%,
way of
100%. We just need to be very careful with our patient selection.
Okay.
Because उसमें यही होता है कि एक certain type of hair है जो laser से काम किया गया, because laser essentially was made as like a medical treatment, right? For facial hair, hirsutism जिसको कहते हैं, जो hormonal problems की वजह से होता है. I'm sure you've probably seen people जिस तरह females होती हैं, but we converted that into obviously an aesthetics thing कि मतलब वो full body lasers हो रहे हैं सारी चीज़ें. So you just have to be very mindful of what kind of hair you're lasering on, because there are different types of lasers for different types of hair.
Right.
अब हमारे जो Asian बाल है, it is thicker and darker compared to let's say the European and the white people hair. So we have different lasers for that.
Right.
So वो फिर थोड़ा सा आपको, I mean you just have to go to somebody who really knows what they're doing, who's reliable, and who has like laser knowledge.
Is there ever going to be a laser for white hair?
Probably not. There is electrolysis.
There is electrolysis, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Pregnancy is one point. Puberty, pregnancy, and then we move on to perimenopause.
Yes.
And menopause, usually women hit that stage mid-40s, 45, earlier perhaps.
Yeah, but I think between like 45 and 50 is when this transition is happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me personally, because I've been going through perimenopause for the last, I think, 1 or 2 years. So breakout of melasma.
Yes.
वो होता है, and that was my biggest worry, that, I was getting like spots on my face. And unfortunately, then is when I started using sunblock.
That's usually what happens. जब वो कोई मसला नजर आता है उसके बाद फिर आपको देखो let's fix it.
बिल्कुल. Therefore, for all the women out there,
please start using it earlier.
Start using it earlier, because मैंने कहा अच्छा अब मसला हो रहा है, अब लगा
लेते हैं.
But इसका इलाज क्या है? How do you prevent that?
To be very honest, prevention. Okay, I'm glad you talked about prevention, because treatment तो कोई नहीं हमारे पास.
Melasma का treatment.
मतलब if I say there's 100% treatment, that will be a completely false statement on my part. Yes, we can reduce it.
Yeah.
We can help you maintain your skin, but you can't 100%. It's not like a बीमारी के 5 दिन की आपने एंटीबायोटिक खाई और खत्म हो गया. It's not one of those. And something like very famous, हमारे अभी कोई dermatology के groups में recently कोई बात हुई थी, and one doctor from, I think it was from Quetta or something, he said कि मरते दम तक melasma का इलाज चलता रहेगा. So that's so true, because I've had people coming in जो मेरे पास पिछले 6 साल से मेरी वही consistent females हैं melasma वाली, कम ज़्यादा, like we're just like playing between कम ज़्यादा with them. I don't know if you've noticed or if you've ever spoken to anybody who's noticed this, stress really leads to a massive flare-up of melasma. So I've had women who I've treated very successfully, for 6 months we've gotten the melasma under control, they're very happy, और वो कोई Jan December में कोई stressful time आया, and by stressful I mean like कोई family stress, financial stress, etc., and they come back with like full-blown melasma.
For people who don't know, what is melasma?
Okay, so melasma का जो उर्दू word is छाइयाँ, which is
ये तो बचपन से ना छाइयाँ पड़
गई, तो मतलब वो तो बड़ा ही common word है. So it's essentially hyperpigmentation on the exposed area, the sun exposed area. So उसमें माथा, the nose, your cheek, and the upper lip area.
Right.
So melasma would not be on your arm or your leg or your back. वो pigmentation अलग आपकी होगी. And melasma has a very, very strong relation with hormones. So female hormone जो estrogen जो होता है, for example, that plays a very important role in melasma, which is why 99% melasma you'll find in females and very less in males. आते हैं males melasma के साथ, but that would probably be like literally 0.1% of the clinic that I do ना कि उसमें males melasma वाले आ रहे हैं. बाकी ये कि genetics, again everything rules down to genetics very strongly.
Can we change genetics?
We can't, unless you go for like gene therapy and get like something changed inside you.
Like evolution of genetics तो हो ही रही है ना.
So वो आपको पता है वो किस चीज़ के लिए हो रही है? वो हो रही है for things like really severe atopic dermatitis and like things जो बीमारियां हैं आपकी इस तरह की, उनके लिए gene replacement and gene therapy is now something that is in I think like वो research based है, like वो trials वाली level पे अभी है, but not something that's really come into the market.
Right.
But I don't know if they'll ever do gene therapy for melasma. I think melasma might be like really that not might be a priority for them
I
at this
think that may
point.
be a bit too
Because
extreme.
I know that they are definitely working on atopic dermatitis, which is eczema basically.
eczema
तो वो उस पे तो I know
वो तो एक
हो रहा है.
serious problem
जी जी,
है.
and unfortunately sometimes people come with really bad eczema. वो तो बड़ा ही and it really impacts your life. Like बहुत ज़्यादा
Of
life
course,
quality
of
काफ़ी
course.
खराब होती
Of
है
course,
इससे.
absolutely. So we're moving through perimenopause, menopause. Now at this stage, somewhere in your late 40s, and
Yeah.
for a lot of people much younger, there's wrinkling begins to happen,
Yes,
and there's sagging. And मैंने बचपन से सुना, oh Asian skin, हम लोग की skin sag करती है,
हाँ.
गोरों की skin wrinkle करती है.
हाँ.
तो you know,
Yeah.
ये है, ये myth है या ये?
So they're two different things, to be honest. Wrinkling and sagging, मतलब wrinkle, again उर्दू में झुर्रियाँ जिसको कहते हैं कि जी झुर्रियाँ पड़ गई, that is movement of muscle, which is what I try explaining to people कि हमारा जो यहाँ muscle है, हमारे face में बहुत muscles है, like lots of muscle, जो expressions हुआ है ना, आपको परेशान है तो eyebrows उठी हुई हैं, गुस्सा है तो eyebrows अंदर आपकी हैं, you're smiling so your eyes squint a little. So ये जो muscle इसके around होते हैं, उनकी activity पे wrinkling होती है सारी आपकी. Sagging is essentially downward,
yes,
kind of like downward progression,
downward trend,
downward trend of your skin. And the way to describe this would be, think of your skin like a शामियाना, और आपने वो पोल्स खड़े किए हैं, विद टाइम अगर वो पोल गिरता रहेगा तो शामियाना कोलैप्स करेगा. सो दैट्स एसेंशियली व्हाट सैगिंग इज ऑफ योर स्किन. तो वो जो कोलेजन है हमारा, द फेमस कोलेजन दैट एवरीबॉडी वांट्स टू ईट, ड्रिंक, मेक, अप्लाई, हर चीज कोलेजन करना चाहते हैं.
And remind me to ask you this question.
Yes, please do, because I have a lot to say on that.
Remind me to ask you about the collagen for breakfast.
Yeah, so वो जो सरिया कह लें या वो जो तंबू होता है, that is your collagen, and your skin on top is the शामियाना or the building. So slowly नीचे की तरफ वो कोलैप्स करता है.
ये बड़े खौफनाक लगते हैं औरतों के लिए. छाइयाँ पड़ गई,
Yeah,
झुर्रियाँ पड़ गई. छाइयाँ और झुर्रियाँ is like major killers.
But a lot of people don't even know the differences. A lot of people don't understand कि कितना extreme measure लेना ज़रूरी है, कितना नहीं लेना ज़रूरी, और कितना पहले से आपको करना चाहिए. You know, as we spoke about it, कि आपको कितना पहले से अपनी foundation को strong करना है. So you know, non-invasive treatments like radio frequency, or like minimally invasive like PRP, microneedling, all of these are things which will really help you maintain your skin till like you hit your 50s. वरना 50s में आके एकदम से कहना सब फिक्स कर दें, वो फिर
मुश्किल है.
और वो बहुत
also
common
an active lifestyle, you know,
100%,
good nutrition, all of that.
Good nutrition, good amounts of sleep.
Sleep is so important.
Sleep is important. Sunlight is very important. हमारी I think जो आवाम है ना, वो बड़ी होती है धूप में नहीं जाना, काले हो जाएंगे. धूप में जाएं, ज़रूरी है जाना धूप में आपके लिए. मतलब ठीक है, श्योर, नॉट सेइंग लाइक 12 बजे जाके धूप में खड़े हो जाएं, सन बेदिंग करना शुरू करें, बट यू नो लाइक वो जो टाइम होता है फॉर द सन राइज एंड जो सनसेट वाला टाइम है, जिसको नरम धूप जिसको हम कहते हैं, सो दैट्स अ ग्रेट टाइम टू बी आउट. मतलब दैट्स समथिंग दैट यू वांट टू बी आउट.
If you're not in dengue season, yeah, sure.
If you're not in dengue season, if you're not in dengue
exactly, हमारे यहाँ ये बड़े मसले होते हैं.
वो हर सीजन के साथ हमारे अलग मसले.
अलग मसले. अब डेंगू सीजन है तो अब चिकनगुनिया सीजन है.
हाँ, तो चिकनगुनिया is quite on the rise, unfortunately.
So आपने सनसेट पे भी नहीं बाहर जाना, सनराइज पे भी नहीं जाना, etc. I'm delighted to have partnered with CSE 1000 Plus for Ahi Innerstar. It's a brand that I trust personally. I've been using it for years for energy, bone strength, and vitality. The really cool thing is that it comes in several great flavors, orange and mango being my absolute favorite, also because mango comes in a sugar-free option. We all need calcium for core strength, and the great thing about CSE 1000 Plus is that it is affordable and accessible for everyone. Okay, so I'll take you back a little bit to women coming in their 40s and 50s and saying कि अच्छा जी अब छाइयाँ हो गई हैं, तो अब झुर्रियाँ पड़ गई हैं, तो फलाना हो गया, धमाका हो गया है. Extreme measures. And that's where extreme measures for a lot of women kick in. और अब they're becoming younger and younger. I mean, women in their 20s are getting Botox and all of that.
Very common.
So एक तो ये है कि ये तो एक endless conversation होगी कि जी क्या-क्या ऑफर हो रहा है आजकल. स्किन के लिए सब कुछ ऑफर हो रहा है.
सब कुछ ऑफर हो रहा है.
सब कुछ ऑफर हो रहा है. मगर what is the right time if you're really somebody who's really particular about their skin and they want to maintain a certain firmness or a certain smoothness and pores भी ना नजर आए. मतलब अगर मैं अपने आप को देखूं तो मुझे यही चीज़ें होती हैं ना कि अच्छा एक तो ज़्यादा ऑयली नहीं हो, चलो वो आपने फेस वॉश अच्छा इस्तेमाल कर लिया, वो कंट्रोल हो गया. फिर आपकी झुर्रियाँ नहीं पड़े ज़्यादा, आप थोड़ा बहुत फेस योगा कर लो सुबह, ये वो अच्छा पड़नी शुरू हो गई हैं. लाइक नाउ आई फील दैट यू नो माय नेक हैज स्टार्टेड टू सैग. व्हाट डू आई डू अबाउट इट? आई डोंट थिंक आई एम रेडी फॉर अ फेस लिफ्ट, which is pretty like invasive and
Yeah,
surgical.
I mean,
and
you're not really a candidate for facelift right now anyways. Okay, so coming on to what your question was with said कि जी 40s 50s
कब शुरू
में
करना
आती हैं,
चाहिए?
कब शुरू करना चाहिए,
Botox,
क्या
for
है?
example, कब शुरू करना
Yeah.
चाहिए?
So Botox and filler, a lot of people use the term interchangeably. उनको लगता है कि वो दोनों same चीज़ है या दोनों कुछ हैं. So I mean, I'll just take like a minute to kind of tell you the difference between it.
Yeah.
Botox is something that helps you reduce the wrinkles or finish them essentially because it paralyzes the muscle. Fillers, as the name से वो fill करता है एक जगह को, वो volume लाता है. So अगर ये लाइनें पड़ती हैं जो laugh line जिसको कहते हैं, इसको आपने ख़त्म करना है तो आपको यहाँ filler डालना पड़ेगा ना, fill करने के लिए जगह को. Lips किसी को बड़े चाहिए, filler करना पड़ेगा. बट अगर यहाँ पे लाइनें हैं या यहाँ पे से 11 बन जाता है, ये मसल की मूवमेंट से है, इसको ख़त्म करने के लिए बोटॉक्स करना पड़ेगा. सो दे बोथ आर लाइक कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट. बोटॉक्स, a lot of people have now started doing at a very young age. Like my youngest patients are like probably in the late 20s now.
Okay.
I think it's a lot to do with social media, unfortunately, कि वो दिखना भी perfect है,
You look a certain way.
you look a certain way कि जी सेल्फी भी अच्छी आए, हमारी तस्वीरें भी अच्छी आए. Obviously, अब सबके career wise people are doing different things. There's modeling, social media influencing, whatnot. So your face is your biggest asset now.
Yeah.
So obviously everybody wants to look a certain
Face and
way.
body.
Face and body, exactly.
A good Botox or a good procedure, you wouldn't be able to tell.
That's the if
beauty
it's done
of it,
it
right?
well,
If
then
it's done well,
you shouldn't be
You
able
should
to tell.
be able to say that, oh, you look beautiful,
Yeah.
or your skin looks great,
Yeah,
or you're looking
yeah.
fantastic. You shouldn't be able to say,
कुछ की है.
Botox.
हाँ, हाँ.
You know, but with the fillers especially, I've noticed that a lot of them end up having lumpy lips.
Yes.
Is
yes.
that like a bad
That's a
filler?
bad filler done.
It's a bad
It's a
filler,
bad
or
filler
is it?
job.
Does it happen to everybody when the filler is wearing out?
No, not necessarily. It's just a bad filler done. वो जो lumps आ जाते हैं, वो लगता है कि कुछ particles पड़े हैं
Yeah.
किस तरह के. Sometimes under eye area blue or grey सा हो
Yes,
जाता है.
yes.
Tyndall effect इसको एक चीज को कहते हैं. Or somebody gets like a very pillowy. It's called a pillow
यहाँ पे
face.
pillow नजर आता
Yeah,
है.
it's called a pillow face. Like कभी बार लगता है कि दिल चाहता है कि उनको यूं. Like sometimes I look at people, I'm like, I just like want to squish their face because it just looks really soft. It's just too much filler. It's just too much filler that they've done, and I feel कि वो एक it just because it's very unfortunate, but एक ही obsession है. Because आपने देख लिया कि जी आपका चेहरा यूं हो सकता है फिलर से और जी बोटॉक्स से बिल्कुल हो गया. एक दफ़ा अच्छा लगेगा, 2 दफ़ा अच्छा लगेगा. Unfortunately, fillers somehow just never completely goes away. मतलब ठीक है वो साल में कहते हैं जी ख़त्म हो जाता है, बट वो जो आपने रिसेंटली आई डोंट नो इफ यू सीन वो MRIs और वो इतने बड़े दिखाए लोगों के जी फिलर थोड़ा थोड़ा होता ही है. मतलब वो लंपी सी स्किन होना शुरू हो जाती
और वो
है.
शिफ्ट हो जाता होगा.
माइग्रेट करता है फिलर. फिलर कैन माइग्रेट ऑल्सो. सो
It all sounds very dangerous.
yeah, it's scary in the sense कि कोई end नजर नहीं आता कि आप कब तक करते जाओगे. If you have the money for it, you can really do anything.
And that's really
everything.
interesting because
Yeah.
I was just thinking that the next question I want to ask you is that do you need to have a lot of money
Yeah.
to maintain good skin through your life? I mean, is it like all equivalent to spending a lot of money? Derma products are very expensive. Creams भी आप लेने जाओ किसी भी dermatologist के पास जो हजारों के बिल आ जाता है.
So I think now I would say, so at least like in my practice, I mean I obviously don't know about anybody else. I try keeping a very budget friendly prescription.
Okay.
And because I generally see a lot of like younger group as well, वो खुद अभी recently started working, I can't expect them to purchase medicines worth like 50,000 in one go.
Yeah.
हर महीने आके 50,000 की दवाइयाँ उनको मैं देना शुरू कर दूँ. That's obviously unfair. तो ये skincare is maintaining your skin is not expensive.
It's
if
not.
you're consistent with it. ठीक है, procedures की जहाँ बात आती है naturally speaking वो महंगे हैं. वो बोटॉक्स का प्रोडक्ट ही महंगा है. फिलर का जो फिलर प्रोडक्ट है वो महंगा है ना. अब आपने अगर अच्छी क्वालिटी की चीज़ करानी है, FDA अप्रूव प्रोडक्ट आपने करवाना है, अमेरिकन प्रोडक्ट कराना है या आपने चाइनीज़ करानी है, द चॉइस इज़ योर्स राइट. अब वो कहने को तो कुछ भी लगा देंगे आपके चेहरे में कह के कि जी अमेरिकन प्रोडक्ट है. बट ऑल्सो वन मोर थिंग, एनी टाइम यू गेट समथिंग डन, स्टॉप योर डॉक्टर एंड टेल देम टू शो यू व्हाट दे आर डूइंग ना, कि कौन सा दिखाएं, क्या बोतल इस्तेमाल हो रही है, स्पेशली ये फिलर्स और बोटॉक्स में. बिकॉज
लोग नहीं पूछते, घबरा जाते हैं कि
घबरा जाते हैं,
घबरा जाते
एग्जैक्टली. एंड वो फिर कभी वो बात भी इस तरह की, फिर वो आगे जवाब भी ऐसा दे जाते होंगे प्रॉब्ली जो आपको फिर मतलब आप डॉक्टर को जी आप शक कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, वो ऑफेंड तो हर कोई हो ही जाता है इतना आसानी से यहाँ पे. सो एक्सपेंसिव यस, डिपेंडिंग ऑन हाउ फार यू वांट टू गो टू मेंटेन योरसेल्फ. मतलब अगर आपने बोटॉक्स, फिलर, फेस लिफ्ट और इस तरह की चीज़ों में जाना है, देन यस ऑफ कोर्स दैट्स मनी, दैट्स डेफिनेटली मनी. बट इफ यू वांट टू डू लाइक अ गुड गुड स्किन केयर, आपने हर 3 महीने बाद एक PRP करा लिया या रेगुलर फेशियल्स करा लिया. Like I always tell people, like manual facials are really good for the skin.
Right.
So you can really take good care of your skin in a decent amount of money also.
But that's maintenance. That's like
That's maintenance. Yes,
yeah.
maintenance.
If you're going for extreme measures, or then of course
extreme measures will of course require money.
Is require
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
What about desi totkas? आजकल क्या वो देसी टोटका मैंने देखा था, पता नहीं क्या,
कौन
एक तो
सा
वो जो देयर दीज लाइक पता नहीं क्या था, लगाएं और ऐसे करके साफ स्किन, पता नहीं क्या था.
आई थिंक एक वो भी तो होता है ना, हर कोई आता है मेरे पास, अच्छा हम मसाज नाइट क्रीम को हम यूं मसाज करें स्किन ऊपर होगी. मैं कहा जी कर लें. मैं कहा कर ले, जितनी स्किन ने नीचे आना है उसने तो आना है. आई समटाइम्स आई डोंट इवन से नो टू दीज आंटीज लाइक वुमेन हु कम इन एंड दे लाइक वो हमने सुना था कि हम यूं मसाज करें और सुबह हम ऐसा लगाएं. तो मैं कहा कर लें. और सुबह एक दफ़ा तो मतलब समटाइम्स इट्स लाइक हम लाइक रियली क्रेजी देसी टोटकास के सुबह का थूक लगाए मुंह पे तो जो रिंकल्स खत्म हो जाते हैं. एंड somebody said this and like हम लोग कोई 50 लोग बैठे थे उसके बीच में और सब ने मुझे देख रहे हैं. नाम जैसा जी लगाएं, सब लगा लें. I was like, what do you want me to say to this?
कोई नुकसान तो नहीं है, लगाएं.
मैंने कहा जिसने जो करना है अपना करें, और वो स्पेशली दांत साफ करने से पहले वाला थूक. So you have to make sure it has a very specific one that she was talking about. I said please.
What is this group, by the way? I want to know what this group is.
So a bunch of aunties were sitting and they're just like हम ये कर ले वो कर ले, और सबके पास देसी टोटके थे अपने ना. वो just like जो मुझे इतनी नींद आ रही थी उस वक्त, and I was like जी आपने जो करना है आप करें. मैं कहा जो करना चाहते हैं आप करें. But desi totkas, I mean, so let's talk about vitamin C, for example.
Yeah.
Vitamin C in a bottle is great. That's what I tell people कि vitamin C आपको ऑरेंज में भी मिलता है, नींबू में भी मिलता है. साइड ठीक है, ये मतलब नहीं कि नींबू लेकर रगड़ना शुरू कर दे मुंह पे. But जो बॉटल वाला vitamin C होगा, that is made in a certain way, वो एक stable compound होगा and stuff. But देसी टोटकास, I mean, they do help. Like अब जो oily skin होती है, acne prone skin होती है, and this is something I've tried myself. I have very oily skin, so besan works. बेसन ऑयल को एब्जॉर्ब करता है. चिकपी फ्लावर जो इज बेसन चिकपी फ्लावर ओके सेम थिंग. सो जो बेसन वाली चीज़ है दैट विल एब्जॉर्ब द ऑयल.
बेसन इज चने की दाल का फ्लावर.
सो ये वाले जो होते हैं कोई चिकपी फ्लावर और जो बेसन है ये चीज़ें हेल्प करती हैं इसमें. जो एक्सफोलिएशन वाली बात है, जौ का आटा एंड ये राइस पाउडर, दीज थिंग्स डू हेल्प. ऑब्वियसली आई मीन दे आर नॉट रिप्लेसमेंट्स फॉर procedures, or they're not replacements for your medical grade skincare or medication. But no harm in trying them. I feel आपको दिखाते भी रहते हैं ना कि they keep on and I feel we will, but then Instagram and social media keeps on playing with your mind. It keeps showing you this alternate side of beauty. keeps showing you this perfect face. अब मैं देखती हूँ कभी भी आप वो खोलें, वो एन हैथवे की तस्वीरें बिफोर आफ्टर लगा के उन्होंने बुरा हाल कर दिया बेचारी का. उसको पता भी नहीं होगा कि यहाँ के कितने डॉक्टर ने उसकी बिफोर आफ्टर लगा ली होगी कि अब वो रो रही है तब रिंकल्स नहीं है. वो जो उसकी पता नहीं कौन सी आखिरी मूवी थी उसमें वो रो रही है तो वो माथे पे रिंकल्स नहीं है, एंड शी इज एज दिस वे एज दैट वे. एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स व्हेन समबडी लाइक लेट्स से यू एंड मी वुड सी इट, we'd be like okay she can look this way, so can we. So
Absolutely.
that's how.
No,
that's
but then
how
you look
starts.
at, I was watching The Perfect Couple yesterday, and I was looking at Nicole Kidman, and I'm like, okay, that's really not. I wouldn't want to go down that route. I mean, she's not looking. I don't think she's looking great. I mean, she's beautiful, but there's too much done on her face.
It's too much done. Like the other day, I put up a picture on my Instagram of Kareena Kapoor, and I think she's beautiful. Like I'm like a big fan of Kareena Kapoor, and I wrote ke how is she still so beautiful. So somebody messaged saying it's all the money and this and that. I said Donatella Versace had the money also. Matlab a lot of celebrities have that money. Jennifer Aniston की recently, I don't know अगर आपने तस्वीरें देखी जो आई थी और वो paparazzi was going crazy over here. They all have money and they have access to probably the world's best plastic surgeons.
Everything.
I still don't. So somebody asked me that what happens to them. I said I genuinely don't have an answer. मतलब जो कर भी रहा होगा इनका कुछ, वो भी क्या सोच के कर रहा होगा. But
I think वो जो कर रहे होते हैं तो इतना gradual होता है फर्क कि आपको खुद को नहीं पता चलता. But when people see you, it's like, oh my god.
नहीं ये, and this is body dysmorphia also, right?
Absolutely.
Body dysmorphia जो है, it's not just about your weight. And I feel कि जो facial स्ट्रक्चर पे भी जो बॉडी डिस्मॉर्फिया लोगों को होता है वो चीज़ है. that's there.
So हमारे beauty ideals क्या हैं in this part of the world, especially in Pakistan? Beauty ideals are okay, great गोरा skin. Good अच्छी गोरी skin हो.
Yes.
अच्छे घने लंबे बाल हो. और उसके बाद जी छाया वाया ना खड़ी नाक हो
और ऐसे आंखें पता नहीं कैसी हो. मतलब ये तो टिपिकल
बड़ी बड़ी आंखें हो, एक्सप्रेसिव आंखें हो. Sajal,
ज़बान ना
looking at
चलती
you,
हो
Sajal.
ज़बान ना चलती हो
जुबान
मतलब
वो बॉडी डिस्मोर्फिया का नेक्स्ट लेवल है. हाथ और जुबान ना
हाँ.
चलते हो, उसका तो कोई एंड ही नहीं है.
Hmm.
But they're dangerous. They're
They're
dangerous
very
ideals.
dangerous, and
yeah.
that's what I tell people. Anybody who comes in for a first Botox appointment to me, I always tell them, I said, this is a very addictive thing that you're going to do now.
Yeah. One more really important thing that I wanted to ask you was that something that is associated with men a lot, especially right from their teens, is hair loss.
Yes.
So, do you see hair loss as a problem for women as well?
Yes, 100%. And I think that is probably one of the most distressing things that I see in my clinic, because hair is the external चीज़ है ना आपकी.
Yeah.
Skin तो है definitely skin, and I feel with skin, you know, acne है, pigmentation, we're like हाँ औरतों को तो होती है. तो
Yeah.
एक ना थोड़ा सा एक it's taken for not taken for granted, but like
but
it's
it's
understood,
understandable,
right?
yes,
Understandable,
yeah.
understandable, exactly. But hair loss दो किस्म के. एक तो है कि जी बस बाल ओवरऑल पतले हो गए, और जी प्रेगनेंसी के बाद बाल काफ़ी लूज हो गए, तो ओवरऑल कम है, जिसमें ऑफ कोर्स न्यूट्रिशन प्लेज अ रोल, योर एनवायरनमेंट प्लेज अ रोल. अब वो ब्लीच और डाई करके बालों का सत्यानाश किया हुआ है, हर वक्त ब्लो ड्राइज हो रहे, सो नो देयर इज अ बंच ऑफ दोस थिंग्स. बट द काइंड ऑफ हेयर लॉस that a lot of women struggle with, and I think that's something that really requires a lot of help, more than like दवाई. आई थिंक थोड़ी सी उनको ना काउंसलिंग और लाइक उस तरह की साइकियाट्रिक साइकोलॉजिकल हेल्प भी चाहिए होती है. इज फीमेल पैटर्न हेयर लॉस, वेयर यूर लूजिंग हेयर फ्रॉम द क्राउन एरिया. यू नो लाइक हाउ men go bald in this
Yeah.
area, females start going bald in that area as well. And unfortunately, I would say for about like 80% or maybe even 90% of the times, we do not have very very successful treatment for it.
Really?
हाँ, इतना हमारे पास ट्रीटमेंट उस तरह का नहीं होता कि जिसमें मैं बोलूँ कि उनके बाल सारे या तो वापस आ जाएंगे या रुक जाएंगे. तो वो बड़ा डिस्ट्रेसिंग एक हमारे लिए चीज़ होती है.
I wasn't aware that usually हम कहते हैं कि जी एशियन खवातीन के बाल बहुत अच्छे होते हैं.
नहीं. Androgenic alopecia, female pattern hair loss is really it's quite a problem. It's a major issue even in our part of the country. I would say globally. मतलब इसका इतना कोई ethnicity से ताल्लुक नहीं है as such. But yes, what you're saying, that's correct. हमारा genetically we generally tend to Asians have better hair, but
Yeah.
ये जो female pattern hair loss होता है, that is it's a very stressful issue.
And
वो तो
so
बड़ा
what
problem
is the
होता है.
cure?
So we do have medication, testosterone lowering medications होती हैं. डिपेंड करता है कि आपका अंडरलाइन कॉज क्या है. मोस्टली इट्स हार्मोनल इम्बैलेंस. जेनेटिक फैक्टर, अगेन वो कहेंगे कि जी हमारी तो अम्मी और नानी के भी यहाँ से बाल नहीं है. एक जो बड़ी क्लासिक पिक्चर आती है वो PCOS की आती है, पॉलीसिस्टिक ओवरीज जो होता है, उसमें इस तरह के बाल आते हैं. सो उसमें लाइफस्टाइल चेंजेस, वेट लॉस, एंड मैनेजिंग दैट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ योर लाइफ विल हेल्प यू इम्प्रूव द हेयर अ लिटिल एज वेल. बट मिनॉक्सिडिल स्प्रेज, ये दवाइयाँ जो खाने वाली आपकी होती हैं, टॉपिक पाउडर्स जो होते हैं, you know, camouflage is what you want to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people will tell you कि जी PRP करा लें, ये कर लें, वो कर लें. So they don't necessarily work. You need to be able to figure out the underlying cause before going into invasive treatment. But नहीं, hair loss तो definitely बहुत common आता है.
Hair loss होता है.
Hair loss बहुत common
Hair
आता
loss
है.
बहुत ज़्यादा associated है weight
Yes,
loss से भी.
yes,
बहुत
yes,
ज़्यादा. और
yeah.
आजकल जब weight loss की इतनी treatments आ गई हैं, इतने there are so many ways of losing weight.
Yeah.
Hair loss is a byproduct
It's
of
a
weight loss.
byproduct.
Absolutely.
It's a byproduct.
Absolutely. So I think we can safely say that right from the teens or as soon as possible, building your core strength is so important.
100%.
And through
100%.
nutrition, I think it's primary.
Yeah.
To eat well, to eat healthy, to make sure you're having your vitamins, your minerals,
Yeah.
and hydration, water, and having. I think that is the core, right?
That is the core, and that's what I tell people, because within a weight loss के चक्कर में, like I mean, I'm one who struggled with weight issues like throughout my life, right? तो वो कभी restrictive diet हो जाएगी, कभी कुछ हो जाएगा. तो restricted diets will always lead to hair loss, because your hair, I feel, your body when goes into a crisis, जब आपने खाना, अब आप 500 कैलोरी पे आ गए हैं, bodies in a crisis mode, तो वो बालों को तो बिल्कुल ही साइड पे कर देते हैं ना. They're like, okay, let's focus on your brain, your eyes, your kidney, your liver, the most vital organs. So hair becomes the last priority for your body, which is why then वो बार गिरता भी है. Quality of hair becomes really bad. So multivitamins and your supplementation becomes really important over here. For just general body health also, for your skin as well. So things like calcium, vitamin D, zinc becomes very important as well. Magnesium आपके लिए important है. Vitamin B की जो पूरी family है, B12, B6, that becomes very important for you. So again, if anybody is ever on like a weight loss journey, I would highly recommend speaking to a doctor, getting the right amount of supplementation, seeing किस चीज़ की deficiency है, कितना क्या चाहिए, because ये ज़रूरी हो जाता है.
एक balance आपने maintain
balance
करना
maintain
करना है, stay healthy, absolutely.
Yeah.
चलो जी, ये तो बड़ी informative बातें हो गई. A lot of which I didn't know about hair loss in women, I can imagine would be very distressing.
Yes.
And yeah, skin बुरी हो रही है, झुर्रियाँ, छाइयाँ, all of that. You know, they're like really horror words
Yeah.
for women, especially as they're aging. But let's go through decade by decade, and the simplest regime you would give and advise, you know, women in their 20s, 30s, 40s के basic regime क्या होनी चाहिए?
So for
Skincare.
20s, it's literally as basic as using a good cleanser, moisturizer, add a vitamin C and a sunscreen. That's it. ये चार
Why
चीजें
vitamin
भी-
C?
So what vitamin C does is vitamin C fights your pigmentation को कम करता है, free radical की production को कम करता है. So जब आपका sun exposure होता है, जो sun का damage होता है skin पे, it helps you reverse that for you.
Okay.
And I think 20s is that time वो जो university college वाली life है, you're running between classes and you're here and you're there, बीच पे भी जा रहे, this, you know, जो 20s वाला जो time होता है.
At least in
तो-
Karachi.
At least in Karachi.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys in Lahore, but at least in Karachi. तो जो वो वाला time है, so like vitamin C really helps you maintain that youthfulness on your skin. And I feel in your 20s you don't really need any drastic measures. मतलब 20s में अगर आप vitamin C और sunblock को regularly use करें, that's the most important
How
thing.
important is exfoliation?
So exfoliation is again extremely important, but I prefer कि जो ज़रा थोड़ी सी aggressive वाली exfoliation होती है ना, like I prefer that in like the 30s, or like late 20s में ठीक है ये
Like
glycolic,
mild
lactic.
scrubs in the shower.
So scrubs are, I would say,
Not even exfoliations.
No, I mean like scrubs are just not in anymore. I feel like we've moved on from
Okay
scrubs.
then.
We've moved on from the apricot scrubs and whatnot.
I remember. Oh my God.
So those are all physical exfoliators. Now we've come to chemical exfoliators, which are basically chemical peels in bottles.
Okay.
And वो बहुत micro level पे जाके वही काम करेंगे जो आपका रेगमाल काम करेगा like a scrub, but it does not have that abrasive effect on
God, I
it.
feel so old all
Yeah,
of a
so
sudden.
if you speak to any Gen Z, you tell them a physical scrub, they'll be horrified.
Are they,
They'll
what?
be like, what are you talking about? So it's all about chemical scrubs now.
अब वो microplastics की भी तो बात हो रही
जी
है ना,
जी
जो
जी
scrubs
जी
में
वो
तो हम-
beads वगैरह
मैं
हैं,
भी
वो
नहीं
सारी
इस्तेमाल
चीजें
करती, ऐसी
आपकी
बात
हैं.
नहीं है.
So we're talking about chemical exfoliators more than
Right.
physical exfoliators
Not needed
now.
in your 20s.
So I mean, you can, but like a mild one, you know,
Right.
like once in a while आपने कर लिया. But when you hit your 30s, that's definitely where you want to incorporate them more. Lactic
अच्छा,
acid.
20s में we're not
Mandelic.
doing a toner?
So toner, I have an issue with.
Okay.
What's the point of a toner? I need someone to explain this to me,
So,
please. I feel
हम-
it's just
हमने
something जो बस घुसा दिया है लोगों
बचपन
ने.
में पढ़ा था और सबने बताया कि when you wash your face you lose the pH balance and a toner will reset that pH balance.
I think वो अगर आप बहुत साबुन से मुंह धोएंगे और मतलब ठीक है, fine, sure, face washes they do disturb the pH balance of your face, but I think not enough to like really cause too much of a problem. Number one. Number two, what does the toner have in it? Toners depend करता है कि आप कौन सा use कर. People will use rose water as a toner. People will use salicylic acid toners. People will use glycolic acid toners. अब वो हर toner, अब rose water कौन सी pH को balance करेगा? I mean, you know,
सिर्फ
like,
अच्छा लगेगा.
अच्छा लगेगा, smell अच्छी आएगी आपसे
हाँ.
थोड़ी देर के लिए. So toners don't sit well with me because I feel they're just like an unnecessary
So I can
step.
eliminate it from my...
You can easily.
Because I have this huge bottle of toner.
अब पड़ा हुआ है तो इस्तेमाल कर लें.
नहीं, वो पड़ा हुआ ही है. पता नहीं कब से वो पड़ा
अब
हुआ
वो
है.
उसमें पहले देखिए उसमें है क्या, बिकॉज आजकल ये जो कोरियन प्रोडक्ट्स की जो एक इन्फिल्ट्रेशन हो गई है पाकिस्तान में कोरियन प्रोडक्ट्स की, तो उसमें ये मिल्क टोनर्स लाइक नो हाइड्रेटिंग टोनर्स, बिकॉज आई फील कोरियन स्किन केयर इज अ लॉट टुवर्ड्स लाइक हाइड्रेशन बिकॉज उनको हमारे वाले मसले नहीं है. उनको दे जस्ट वांट ग्लास स्किन बिकॉज ऑलरेडी स्किन अच्छी है, उसको बस और हाइड्रेट करते रहे. सो आई मीन देयर इज नो हार्म इन यूजिंग देम, बट आई मीन इफ यू वांट टू सिंप्लीफाई योर स्किन केयर रूटीन देन यू कैन
Let's
रियली टेक आउट
simplify.
वन.
Let's
So like
simplify.
I don't use a toner. I don't use one because I feel it doesn't add much value to
Right.
me. So मुझसे कोई
Right.
पूछता भी, मैं कहती हूँ अगर आप use कर रहे हैं, sure, go ahead. Depending on what's in it, somebody comes with really bad acne or oily prone skin, sure, आप salicylic acid वाला जरा strong use कर लें, आपकी sense बनती है. But अब वो it's just like an added unnecessary step in your
ठीक है,
routine. Yeah.
ठीक है, dismiss.
Dismiss, yes. So you want to use a sunscreen, vitamin C moisturizer, basic cleanser. In your 30s, you want to add more like, exfoliators, lactic acid, mandelic acid,
And
glycolic
are these
acid.
exfoliations you can do yourself or do you need to go to a professional to get them done?
So depending on the percentage, आपको जो घर में करने वाला मिलेगा वो एक certain percentage से ज़्यादा legally allowed नहीं है बनाना companies को. तो अब जैसे आप Sephora चले जाएं, Boots चले जाएं, वहाँ पे जो बनी बनाई चीज़ों ना, they'll be ones that are safe to use at home.
Okay.
Even retinols. But let's say you come into a clinic, we do chemical peels on a very regular basis. That is also one treatment I would definitely suggest. Completely non-invasive, but it gives you great skin. skin. You know, आपका especially शादी दावत से पहले आपने करा लिया, किसी travel से पहले करा लिया, it really gives you very nice skin.
You know, the image that comes to my mind when I hear the word chemical peel,
It's like पूरी skin उतरना.
it's like radiation on the
Yeah.
skin
No,
and coming out with like exposed red. Like,
that is those are deep peels. We're talking about like superficial and medium depth peels, because जो deep वाले peels होते हैं हमारी skin में करेंगे तो वो सत्यानाशी हो जाएगी, because our skin cannot tolerate deep peels. वो deep peels are good for goras, not for us, because हमारी skin pigment कट जाती है बड़ी आसानी से. But the newer peels that we have now on the market don't even have peeling in them. There's like micro peeling, थोड़ी होगी. They work on a deeper level without causing any irritation आपके ऊपर. So you can get a peel done, you're out for work, for errands, whatever, nobody can tell you've done anything.
Right.
Few days later, it's like a bit of shedding and you just have like really nice
remember that
skin.
one episode from Sex and the City
Jab
where
pe-
Samantha gets the peel done and then she's like, you know, all red
Fully
and
red and
blotchy.
tomato
That
like-
is like my worst nightmare.
I mean,
going.
we can still do those peels. We do them, us tarah ke bhi, but the
No,
newer
but we
ones
don't
now,
want to do those peels. Yeah.
but the newer ones now have minimal to no downtime.
Okay.
हाँ,
And the
वो वाले.
benefit क्या है peel का?
So peel is just like peeling, right? Like
Right.
literally like peels off
Taking
a layer
off
of
dead
skin,
skin?
taking off dead skin, collagen का turnover, skin का turnover बढ़ाता है. Some certain peels, depending on what the ingredient is, will induce more collagen production
Collagen.
as well. Collagen.
We've come back to collagen. Are we supposed to drink collagen
No.
for breakfast?
No.
Glass of collagen?
No shot of collagen, no glass of collagen. Collagen is a protein which is so big that जो हमारे पेट में acid होता है वो उसको destroy कर देता है. Unless it's a specific type of hydrolyzed marine collagen जिसकी थोड़ी percentage absorb हो जाएगी आप में. Otherwise, I think it's more of a
Feel good thing. Oh,
feel
I
good
had-
thing. वो एक सूडो सा इफेक्ट आपको मिल जाता है. उसका एक वर्ड होता है, I'm forget प्लेसिबो इफेक्ट जो होता है.
हाँ.
वो प्लेसिबो इफेक्ट आपको मिल जाता है, जो आके लोग बड़ी बहस करते हैं, मैं कहती हूँ पीते रहो करते रहो. मतलब आई थिंक हाफ मैं ओपीडी से कहाँ कर लो जो करना है. You're so convinced that you want to do it, then sure do it. मतलब अगर आपको
नुकसान नहीं है कोई?
नुकसान नहीं है,
Yeah.
नुकसान नहीं है, because a lot of collagen supplements will have, you know, some other micronutrients
Yeah, sure,
with it.
Sure.
तो वो आप कर सकते हैं. वरना
Sure.
सबसे best way of getting collagen would actually having yakhni, like bone broth.
Absolutely.
You know, like mutton की and gosh की जो
Yeah,
बड़ा
beef,
वाले
yeah.
beef की या mutton की even for
Yeah.
that matter. So those are great sources of collagen for you. Even fish, salmon और जो ये सारी चीजें, they're
Absolutely.
great sources
Absolutely.
of collagen.
Okay, so we're in our 30s now. We're going for mild,
Yeah,
mild
yeah.
exfoliation.
We're doing exfoliation. We're now stepping more into invasive procedures. So you know,
In the
something-
30s we
in
are.
your 30s, and by invasive I mean like a PRP, like a vampire facial. If you're familiar with that, which Kim Kardashian की
I only
मशहूर-
saw Kim Kardashian.
yeah. So
get
that
it.
basically मशहूर तस्वीर उसकी आई थी पूरी लाल शक्ल की, and we all used it to our benefit. उसकी तस्वीर लगा ला, हमने कहा हाँ जी ये कराएं आके ये कराएं. So like a lot of people gained a lot of knowledge about
उससे क्या होता
PRP
है?
से. So again, collagen. See, end of the
Collagen.
day हमारी स्किन केयर का पूरा मकसद क्या है? कोलेजन को बनाना, कोलेजन को एनहांस करना, बुरे कोलेजन को
And
खत्म
collagen is
करके नया-
elasticity in the skin.
Yes,
right?
collagen
Yeah.
is kind of like your foundation for your skin. So again,
Yeah.
the example I give people कि जब घर बनने के लिए foundation नहीं ले करते, फिर घर structure खड़ा होता है. So collagen is that foundation that you lay. Over time, वो foundation sink करती है. So exactly how collagen works. Collagen के multiple types होते हैं, 1, 2, 3, 4. अब वो 1 वाला slowly convert करके 4 बनेगा. You want to
Right.
bring it back to like 1 and 2. And these are ways of doing it.
Okay.
Using vitamin C, getting these PRPs done, doing radio frequency, using retinol. तो ये सारी collagen production को enhance
And
करते
this
हैं.
is all through your 30s? And I'm assuming it continues in
It
your...
continues. It
in the
continues.
40s?
Yeah. And then, you know, you want to add retinols in your routine, tretinoin, retinol. I mean, these are things I think people are very familiar with nowadays.
Right, right.
Again, anything and everything to make collagen, enhance collagen, prevent your fine lines. You can't stop the muscle activity. So Botox or fillers की replacements नहीं है, which is something people really think के है replacement. But in your late 30s, I would say even like wait till your 40s, to be honest. Like maybe 30s में ना भी करें,
Yeah.
which is where the Botox and fillers start creeping
Depending on
in.
your genes,
Depending
you
on
know?
your genes,
Yeah,
of course, some
absolutely.
people wrinkle very fast. Actually, no, you're absolutely right. Some people wrinkle very fast.
Yeah.
So that's where you want to start putting in your Botox and fillers. Radio frequency is something people don't really give much attention to, but I would 100% endorse it and recommend it, because radio frequency में कोई needles नहीं है. It's like an ultrasound machine.
right.
It's just a radio frequency waves, and it helps you tighten the collagen with production of heat and like radio
So
frequency.
we're talking about HIFU and
So HIFU is
Morpheus 8.
so Morpheus 8 का जो needle के minus वाला part होता है, that's
Oh,
radio frequency, right? I mean, you can do Morpheus 8 also.
Morpheus 8 is microneedling.
plus radio frequency. Like वो
Okay.
tuck needles निकलती है ना उसमें, but it's not like बहुत खून खराबा. It's fairly non-invasive.
Slash fest नहीं है.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है.
Okay.
So radio frequency is something that helps you tighten the skin, and so people who come in, women in their like 40s, ये बहुत common होता है कि जी हमें face lift भी करना है अपना, लेकिन जी botox filler नहीं करना. फिर मैं कहती हूँ आप radio frequency पे आ जाए. 6-8 महीने लग जाते हैं, but I've had some beautiful results with females.
Really?
I've had my friends' mums come in, or like patients who are in their 40s and 50s, और वो 6 महीने बाद आती हैं और जी jaw line भी निकली हुई और चेहरा भी खिंचा हुआ है, but then they're the ones who do it regularly. हर 2 हफ्ते बाद आई नहीं होगी कराने, because these things need to be done frequently.
Really?
Obviously, you will not get the result that fillers would give you,
Yeah.
but these help 100%.
It all depends how much you want to do, how
Yes.
frequently you want to
Yeah.
do, how much
And
it's
how
bothering.
extreme you want
How
to
extreme
go.
you, yeah, and how what is bothering you
Yeah, because
basically.
facelift तो है ही ना आपके पास, एंड में facelift तो करा ही सकते हैं आप अपने लिए.
बिल्कुल
तो
बिल्कुल.
वो उस पे डिपेंड करता है how extreme you want to go.
Yeah, and I think उसके बाद 50s के बाद तो it's all about repairing what is going and what is bothering you. Fix
What is bothering you.
fix whatever is bothering
Fix
you.
what is broken.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm very pro-choice. अगर आपका दिल है
100%.
extreme,
I
go
agree.
extreme,
I
absolutely.
That's why I always tell my patients, I'm like, आपने facelift कराना है, आप कराएं, 100 दफा कराएं
बिल्कुल
आप.
बिल्कुल.
But make sure that you take a decision based on what you really want and what will make you happy.
Yes.
But also be very mindful of the fact that this is part of body dysmorphia. लेकिन जो
Okay, now
facelift
interesting.
कराना आएगा वो थोड़ा body dysmorphia
अच्छा,
होगा
अब
वहाँ
how
पे.
do we differentiate and where do we draw the line? And this is, I think, my conclusive question, that where do we draw the line between a healthy awareness of looking good and maintaining some kind of youthfulness? And I wouldn't say like reversing the age, because nobody can.
You can't.
You can't. But just looking good as you age, or aging
Graceful
gracefully.
aging, yeah.
Graceful aging and dysmorphia. How do you when you meet a patient, how do you differentiate अच्छा ये healthy है या
Yeah.
dysmorphic?
Dysmorphia, I feel थोड़ा सा ना younger age में ही नजर आना शुरू हो जाता है. So I have patients like much younger, like even less than their 20s में जो आ रही थी ना, जो लड़कियां क्लियर स्किन, एक दाना होगा, बट जो ऑब्सेशन जो नजर आना शुरू है, यू नो कि ये बॉडी डिस्मॉर्फिया बन जाएगा इनका इवेंचुअली. सो इफ आई फॉलो पेशेंट्स जो उस एज से लेके अब तक कुछ 6-7 सालों में मेरे पास जो पेशेंट्स रह चुके हैं, सो आई एम लाइक कॉन्स्टेंटली काउंसलिंग देम आल्सो कि भाई इस तरह नहीं, आप यू कांट बी सो ऑब्सेसिव ओवर लाइक वन दाना, वन निशान एटसेट्रा. वो जो थोड़ी सी जो ओल्डर वाली एज में आते हैं, आई फील सम come with a very clear mind of their own. They know कि हमने कराना है बोटॉक्स फिलर, चाहे आप जो भी कहते हैं, हमने तो करना ही है.
Yeah, आप नहीं करेंगे, हम कहीं और चले जाएंगे.
Exactly. And like sometimes जो इस तरह के patients आते हैं ना, I generally tend to send them elsewhere because I know कि I'll never be able to satisfy them. मतलब उनका कुछ भी कर दो, उन्हें खुश नहीं होना. I think there's a very fine line between this. It's very tricky because it's very tricky to tip over to the body dysmorphia side. आपको चलते फिरते लोग नजर आ रहे हैं, आपको चलते फिरते कोई कुछ कह देगा कि भाई तुम्हारी स्किन को क्या होगा, तुम तो इतनी अच्छी लगती थी अपनी जवानी में, झुर्रियां, भाई ये तो होना ही है,
भाई तुम्हारे चेहरे पे क्या हुआ, छाइयां पड़ गई,
तुम्हारी तो स्किन ऐसी नहीं थी, तुम तो ऐसी नहीं थी. It's very tricky. I don't think I have a right answer for how much is
but a good
too
doctor
much.
would be able to tell.
Yes, and I think it's the counseling also. Like I feel I really spend a lot of time with my patients, especially जिस तरह वाले आते हैं, I have to like really break it down for them कि आपको किसने भेजा है, किसके प्रेशर में आप आए हैं. I think that really plays a role कि जी मियाँ पूरा दिन ताने मारता रहता है, तो वो पे body dysmorphia नहीं होगा तो और क्या होगा.
Do you see a lot of that happening?
This is very common.
Really?
This is very common, and this is unfortunately like women in their 40s and 50s who come in. This one time I had a patient come in who had flown in from somewhere, and she must have been easily in her late 40s and stuff. और वो रंग गोरा होना was a problem because the husband would tell her दिन रात शाम कि तुम काली हो, and this is they've been married for 2 decades literally.
That's so sad.
तो ये पे body dysmorphia नहीं बनेगा तो then she was wanting to take the most extreme measures she possibly could in the 15 days she had in Pakistan कि मैं वापस जाऊँ तो मैं गोरी जाऊँ, and that's not possible.
It would have been simpler to just take a divorce.
Fair enough, but I mean I couldn't give her that option.
A simpler way to
I
deal
could
with
not
that
write that on
problem
her prescription.
A simpler way to deal with that problem is
could not write that on her prescription, unfortunately.
Just take a divorce.
But ये चीज़ तो बहुत ज़्यादा है, इस तरह का body dysmorphia बहुत है. So I think patient को खुद insight, awareness, that's important. बताते रहें, समझाते रहें.
Absolutely, which is why we're focusing on the balance between the mind, the body, and the soul.
Yes.
You need to find that balance between your core strengths. You need to love yourself.
Love yourself exactly.
Through all decades.
Yeah.
And you just need to feel great about yourself and
that's
not be affected.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people you want to be the best version of yourself in that age without wanting to look like what you did 10 years
Yeah,
ago. Like if you
yeah.
look a certain way at the age of 50, be the best version of it.
Absolutely.
At the age of 50, honestly, it's not your skin, it's your bones and your muscles that need more help than your skin at that point. So you want to really make sure you've got your
Absolutely.
exercise, you're doing resistance training, weight training, you're out in the sun, you're swimming, you're
No, you're
you know,
absolutely
doing
right,
all of
because
that.
ultimately your skin is sitting on your bone and muscle.
Of course, 100%,
Absolutely,
100%,
absolutely.
100%.
So अगर core strength नहीं होगी तो फिर तो
तो
कुछ भी
फिर
नहीं
आपका
होगा.
फायदा किसी भी चीज का
Absolutely,
नहीं
your
है.
core strength is your bones, it's your muscles, it's your emotional health, it's your
Yes,
mental
mental
health.
health, mental
All of
health.
that contributes to it.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's all one big package.
One big package.
One big
absolutely.
package.
One
you can't
absolutely.
alienate one thing from
No,
the
no,
other
you
and say
can't.
that you're
You
going to
can't.
be great at 50.
No, no.
If you're not healthy, but you'll still be great if
Yeah.
you're doing this, and this.
Yeah.
No.
Because
It
see,
has-
if you've
it's a
done Botox
combination.
fillers because your skin was bothering you, but mentally you're not in a good
No,
place,
you're not
आप
going to
ये
be.
कितना बोटॉक्स आपको खुश कर
Absolutely.
देगा? नहीं ना, आप
नहीं
तो पूरी
करेगा.
बोतल लगा लेंगे मुंह पे, but you will not be
नहीं
a happy
करेगा.
person. And I think then that translates into literally everything, every aspect of your life. Then.
Absolutely. I hope that and I think we have answered absolutely every question, but I'm sure there are other questions as well.
Yeah.
So I would encourage people to drop a comment if they have more questions that have
Yeah.
not been answered in this great informative session we've had. And yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. It was
Thank you
it
so
was
much
so
for
great.
having
It was
me.
great talking to you.
Yeah, Jale, I'm so
And
glad.
I've learned so much.
Yeah.
I learned new things, and I hope that people have some kind of a formula for passing through your 20s,
yes, through
30s,
your
and
decades.
aging gracefully,
Yes.
and aging with strength and happiness, basically.
Which I think is way more important than looking a certain way.
Absolutely,
100%.
absolutely, absolutely.
Big supporter of being happy, mental
Happy,
peace and contentment
yeah,
more than
yeah.
looking a certain way.
Absolutely, and it's all about personal choices.
100%. Yeah.
Bilkul, bilkul. We have curated this little basket for
Oh,
you,
thank you so much.
and hopefully you
Thank you.
enjoy it.
Thank you so
Personally
much. Oh, wow.
customized for all our guests
Oh, no way.
with things that hopefully you will like. And
Thank you so
sort of
much.
For
Thank
the
you.
skincare expert, should we remove these for you so you can put it here?
Yeah, I'll just put it here.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you again. Thank you so much. It
Thank
was
you so much for
fun.
having me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.